Hey guys, it's M4J here and welcome back to the M4J network here on OpenTTD. Today we are rebuilding Drentbourne Radeon, which is the station you see on screen right now, and Waterside Airport, which is the link between Drentbourne and Tarnway and Funston on the Gardcity to Bahecity route. Goes through a little station called Waterside Airport. It's not really a little station, but you'll see what I mean in a second when we actually get to it. So originally this episode was only going to be the rebuilding of Drentbourne, but I actually got that done pretty quickly, and that's mostly due to the fact that I had a design sitting waiting to be used. So for those of you that know, George designed the new Drentbourne station as well as a couple of other stations on the network that have yet to be rebuilt. And I'm quite happy with this design. It's a really nice design. Now I've already said this in the stream that I did last week, but I'll say it again. Imagine that the arched roof covers the crossovers between the platforms as well. So imagine it's all one big long arched roof rather than arched roof gap arched roof. I haven't been able to find an asset yet that can cover those gaps, which is a little unfortunate, but I'm not too upset by that. There might be something in the is it the landscape tools? You can place stuff through that menu as well, so there might be something there. I've not looked yet, but I've had a look through the station tiles and I couldn't find anything, but it's okay because we can use our imaginations and a little bit of artistic license. Excuse me, got a frog in the throat already. So there are 4 through tracks at Drentbourne. Technically there's 8, but imagine it's 2 lots of 4. There's 2 on the east side, 2 on the west side, and combined they allow trains to go through from any direction to any direction. In theory, I think that's still the case. I'm not 100% sure. There's something with this station that I feel is going to break in the not too distant future, and I'm not entirely 100% sure just what it is yet. But besides that, there are, let me count up quickly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 through platforms and 6 terminating platforms, which means there are 22 platforms in total, which I think is an increase on what there used to be, so that's always good. The bay platforms on the west side, they're mainly for slow trains terminating from the northwest and the southwest. They can be accessed from the northeast and the southeast, but I'm going to try and avoid that if possible, just for operation's sake. It means you haven't got trains crossing over the junctions all the time, potentially blocking traffic coming through from the other tracks. There is one fast bay platform on the north and the south. They're mainly, again, for trains terminating from the northwest and the southwest. So, for example, we have 2 Gardcity to Drentbourne services running at the moment. They actually use the slow bay platforms. But if I added one in the future that was a fast service, it would terminate in the fast bay platform instead. And I am considering doing that, not with the ones that I've already got, but another service in the future that will call at less stations along the way. Beyond that, that's pretty much it for Drentbourne. I've added a little bit of eye candy between some of the platforms, particularly between the bay platforms. Reconfigured some of the tracks a little bit. Done all the signalling as well, so that all works, which is awesome. You'll see me do the same thing for Waterside in just a second. Added this little entry-exit type thing here as well, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And as I say, we have trains running to Drentbourne now, which is awesome news, because it means it is all working. Which is good stuff. I'm going to stop saying the word and I'm going to focus more on talking about what's going to be happening in the near future. So this little sub-series, the 0.5 episodes, they used to go out on Mondays, which meant I worked on them over the weekend. From now on, though, I think they'll be on Tuesdays, and that means you'll get OpenTTD content on Tuesdays and Thursdays on weeks where there's a 0.5 episode. I haven't got any plan for the near future, so it might be a little while before we get another 0.5 episode. There isn't that much that needs doing in time lapses at the moment. A lot of it is kind of live builds during the streams, and that kind of brings me on to the streams. The streams are getting better and better each week, and it might sound funny because I start most streams by complaining about something or other. Last week's complaint was no one really uses the Discord, no one really uses the Reddit, and I still stand by that. So I'm recording this on Monday, the day before you're watching the video, and apart from a little conversation that happened I think Friday afternoon, where I pitched some ideas for future episodes and people replied saying they wanted to see it or not, the Discord still isn't being used very much, and it's a little concerning when that happens. I always have it in my head, Discord, Reddit, places like that. As soon as I've announced them, I always had this this idea that people would just be using it constantly and it'll be a hive of conversation, and then I can drop in every now and then and pick up on people's ideas and then take them forward and use them in the network. It's not really happening. Maybe my expectations were a little bit too high, but I genuinely believed that everyone wanted to voice opinions and suggest ideas and things like that. And now I've created the platform for people to do that more consistently. No one's really using it. It was a little concerning and a little frustrating, but I'm not going to dwell on it too much, because the big thing about streaming is we've had lots of new people joining the streams, which is awesome to see. And if you're watching these videos as well, welcome back. You're more than welcome to continue watching these. That's absolutely fine. It's really nice to have you on board. And everyone who subscribed last week to help me get up to 1,000 subscribers as well. A big thank you and a big warm welcome to you guys as well. There's a lot of people from the OpenTTD Discord and Reddit who watch these videos and streams now. So a big thank you to you, big warm welcome to you. And if there's any new GRF developers out there who are watching this, I'm still interested in having a chat about the possibility of adding custom liveries to existing new GRFs. So if you are knowledgeable on that subject, feel free to reply by commenting below this video. Get in touch, we'll have a little chat about it. Mainly I just want to see if it's possible. If it's not possible, then you know, it sucks, but so be it. But if it is possible, I'd really like to find out how to actually go about doing it, because as I said, it's not just the M4J livery that I want to get into the game, but if people support me on Patreon and set up their own franchise, I'd like to be able to use their custom liveries in the game as well. So that's why I want to do it. I want to use real British trains, which we've already got, BR trains, but I want to use my own liveries on those trains to make them fit in with the network. So it's kind of stretching the realms of reality a little bit, but it's something that I think a lot of people want to see. Particularly, you know, if you support someone on Patreon, you want to sort of get something back from it still, even though the idea is meant to be you're watching YouTube content for free, and then this is your way of, you know, showing your appreciation for that. But I like to give something back as well, because Patreon is a big deal for a lot of people. That's why and where I came up with this system. So yeah, if anyone knows whether or not that is possible, do let me know. I am considering the idea as well of testing out loading this save in the JGR patch. And the reason being is I like the Lieutenant Joker patch. There's a lot of really cool features in the Lieutenant Joker patch that I don't particularly want to lose, but I really want to try out scheduled dispatch and see if it works the way I want it to work. Because if it does, from what I've seen, you set up your schedule and then it tells you how many trains you need, and that would eliminate a lot of the guesswork that I've had to do on the Google Sheets to actually make that work. So I'll still set up the service schedule sheet to have you know, the stops, how long they'll stop for, things like that, and work out a rough estimation as to how many trains we need. But then I'll take that data and put it into the game, use scheduled dispatch, and then it will tell me for definite how many trains I'll need, and then I can work out the difference and see how far off I am. Because if possible, I'd like to set up a little formula that will calculate the exact number of trains I need without having to use scheduled dispatch. So then all I have to do in the game is add the schedule and start it running. So obviously it will still tell me how many I need at that point, but if I work it out in advance, then I can work out how many trains I need, how big I need to build my depots. That's the problem for me right now, is I'm either building my depots way too small, like at Honingville, excuse me, that was bad, like at Honingville, where really I can only have like 4 or 5 different services operate out of that depot before it gets too busy. Or I build my depots really big, like I have done at Drunnington and Tenfing Bridge. That depot is huge. So I'll look at different options there and see if I can get scheduled dispatch to work. I know the developer of scheduled dispatch did reply to one of my, I think it was a Reddit post, and said that he made the patch specifically for the JGR patch pack. Didn't really say whether or not it'd be easy to transfer over, but the issue at the moment is Lieutenant Joker just isn't working on his patch at the moment, and he might never work on it again from what I've gathered. So I'm kind of starting to look at alternatives. I still want to use the patch as much as possible. I have not got the editing skills and the programming skills to be able to adapt it to my needs. So I am kind of looking ahead to the future. I'm going to weigh up the pros and cons, what I'll gain and what I'll lose, and see if it's actually worth doing or not. If it is, then, as I say, I'll test it out. If it isn't, then I'll keep things as they are for now and just do it all on the Google Sheet. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that down below as well. I want to kind of gain and gauge the feedback on that. So if you guys want me to use the JGR patch and be a bit more along the lines of scheduled dispatch and things like that, let me know. If you want me to stay on the patch that I'm using currently, let me know. Either way, it is fine. Right, so we're moving on from Drentbourne now. We're moving on to the Gardcity Southeastern main line. So this is the little stretch between Nunville Central and Drentbourne. You can see I'm reprofiling the track here a little bit. Now there is a station here that gets removed. Well, it gets temporarily removed and then it gets added back in on a new little branch line. But there's another new station that gets built, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't think off the top of my head. But George, who has done the station codes for me, if you want to find out the name of that station, let me know via the comments or on Discord, and I'll have a look on the map for you and let you know. But the two former stations, one's been replaced on the existing main line and one's been moved to the branch line. To my knowledge, those names are the same though. Is it something like Sondinghatten or Somethingberg was one of them, and Rinding something was the other? Again, I can't really see on the screen. You guys can see on the screen, so you'll be able to tell me. I think they're both just named after the town. Although, actually, in thinking about it, one has been renamed. So the one that gets built on the main line, it was just the name of the town, where it's now it's the name of the town and then north. And then the one on the branch line is the name of the town and south. That's what's happened. And then the one that you're seeing me build now, just to the north of that little town, that's the new station that's been added to the network. So station codes might have to be edited. The new one certainly has to be added. But beyond that, I tried to keep disruption to a minimum, because I know how annoying it can be to have all that set and then I go and change something and it has to be reconfigured and redone and things like that. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. But yeah, here's me placing some waypoints as well. All the speed limits, as I've said, for this section of line have been done. The only bit left to do to get trains running to Bahecity is the little section between Drentbourne and Bahecity Senningbury. The rest of it is all set up and ready to go. So at some point over the next couple of weeks I will be doing that, and I'll be testing out the express non-stop service between Gardcity and Bahecity, which hopefully will earn me a lot of money, and maybe then we don't have to worry as much about the money issue that's been kind of plaguing the series for the last few weeks now. Last few months, in fact. It's basically been since I rebooted the series. We've had a problem with the cash flow. So we'll see if we can get that fixed. I actually dropped into negative numbers recently. I thought I might have solved the problem, because the amount I was paying in tax was going down and down and down and down and down, but it seems to have plateaued at around about, I think it's 3 trillion a year. So I might let it go into the negatives a little bit more. Like, be brave and see what happens there. Hopefully the company doesn't get shut down, and see if that actually fixes the problem or not. It's almost like a reboot of the finances. You go into negatives, you'll wait for the taxes to reset themselves, and then we'll see if that actually works or not. If it does, then happy days. If not, then I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll think of something. I keep saying we'll think of something. If anyone has any suggestions, then feel free to suggest them. But you know, it's kind of something that I think I might have to go away and think about. It's not going to affect the series too much though, because if necessary, I'll just add some money back into the game so I can do a stream, and then outside the streams, I'll have a look at the problem again and see if I can find a fix. So this is the new Waterside airport. I think it is a little bit wider than the existing one, or the old one. There's two tracks, two main lines that approach it from the west side, only one from the east side. However, on the east side I have two slow departure and arrival lines and only one fast departure and arrival line. The reason being is I wanted to make sure that there was some greater separation here, particularly as the non-stop service between Gardcity and Bahecity is going to shoot through the centre tracks here. It's not going to stop, or it's not even going to go through the platforms. Whereas at Drentbourne and Tarnway and Funston, especially at Tarnway and Funston, it has to go through a platform track because there's no tracks that don't have platforms on them. And at Drentbourne, it'll have to slow down anyway to snake its way through the through tracks there. So So this is the only station really where it can just bomb through at full speed. So I wanted to make sure that the slow trains didn't interfere with that express service, and any other express service, to be fair, that runs through the station. So I've built a little grade separation flyover, a bit like, I think it's the western end of Reading, has a flyover now as well. So it's just something there to help the trains run a little bit faster. And then it means that the trains on the northern side of the station can cross over onto the slow lines without impeding the fast tracks. For the south side, I believe this is the main line that comes in from the new Munfingford to Plenborough line that's being planned in the not too distant future. So it's not really, it's still a main line, and we'll still have some fast services running on it, but it's not as important as the Gardcity to Gardcity to Drentbourne line. So it's not going to need that many, special crossovers and dive unders and flyovers and things like that. So I'm pretty happy with the layout of the station overall. There's, I think, 2 slow platforms and 2 fast platforms in each direction, so 4 in total for the slow and 4 in total for the fast. And yeah, it's a nice design. I'm quite happy with it. I'm starting to go for these asymmetrical type stations now. I'm a little less bothered about full grade separation all over the place. I'm only really going to use it now where it's necessary. Again, it's to kind of fit in with the realism initiative. You can't always just build flyovers and dive unders at every single station, because in real life it's not always possible and it's not always affordable. So the town of Waterside isn't big enough really to warrant a huge number of grade separated crossings. Just the one on the eastern end, which is the one that I've put in. But again, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the design. I'm personally quite happy with it. Running trains through it as well, it proves the design works. Trains can terminate in both directions from all 3 main lines that approach. I've made sure that that's the case. And again, signalling has all been done, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to get the trains down to Drentbourne working. You'll also have noticed I added some waypoints for the crossover. I already mentioned that further up the line, halfway between Waterside and Drentbourne. That's mainly been done because the services that do go between Gardcity and Drentbourne currently, they cross over onto the slow lines just before, I can't remember the name of the station now. I think it's Wenningston Station exists, and I think it's just after that the trains cross over to the slow lines. And then they go through Keddinghatton. It's either Keddinghatton or Kendinghatton. I need to learn the names of these stations as well, to be honest. But yeah, all the crossovers and stuff happen there, and then they run on the slow lines at the slower speed into Drentbourne. I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. Fortunately, the video is starting to come to a conclusion now. You can see me still messing around with the signalling here. It's the first time in a while that I've done signalling like this on screen. Normally I do the build on screen, build the stations, and then I do the signalling afterwards. And when I say the signalling, I mean programming the signals rather than actually adding them. So this is to make sure that the trains run as they're supposed to through all the different platforms. And I'm starting to pay more attention to that. In the past, I was a little bit lazier with some of the signaling programming, whereas now I'm a bit more. Sorry, just got an important message on my phone. Now I'm a bit more vigilant about it, and I try and make sure that I'm putting the right trains through the right platforms, because if you get it wrong, it can really mess up your entire network. So I'm a bit more, as I say, vigilant about it. But yeah, that pretty much brings this video to an end. So while the video plays out completely, I'm going to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series. Drop some comments down below here with ideas for future episodes, and also check out the M4J Discord and Reddit so that you can leave ideas there as well. The Discord has its very own M4J network text chat, so there's the best place now for leaving ideas, because I can pick up on it straight away. And yeah, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support, and until next time, I will see you soon.